Picture Barbara Oakley sitting in a dimly lit army barracks, flipping through a geometry textbook that just makes her head spin. She flunked math through high school, feeling like numbers were an alien language. But then, decades later, she's tackling advanced engineering, not by genius, but by rewiring how she learns. What if the biggest obstacle isn't math itself, but how you're taught to think about it? Stay with me, because what she discovered will change how you approach any tough subject. Barbara's breakthrough came when she understood her brain toggles between two modes, and one's sneaky hardworking, the other's chill but essential. In one night during her engineering studies, Barbara struggled with a stubborn math problem until she gave up. The next morning, as she sipped coffee and walked the dog, the solution popped into her mind effortlessly. This wasn't magic. It was her brain's diffuse mode working behind the scenes, letting connections form while her focused, problem-solving mode rested. That moment opened a hidden door in her learning journey. Think of your brain as a city at night. Focused mode is like a spotlight, honing in on a single street, every detail sharp. Diffuse mode? It's like a dim street lamp scattering its glow, letting your mind wander and link distant ideas. Both are necessary to understand tough problems, focused for drilling precise facts, diffuse for seeing the big picture. Barbara's entire shift in mastering math came down to practicing in the right patterns. Like carving a deep groove in a hiking trail, focused repetition builds lasting neural chunks. Those chunks let you breeze through complex equations that once felt impossible, turning a brain full of noise into one with clear, smooth highways. We all know procrastination's a thief, but Barbara found it's less about laziness and more about how your brain reacts to mental pain. Barbara recalls the sinking feeling before tackling calculus homework. She'd avoid it for hours. The brain senses mental pain and dodges it instinctively. But recognizing that avoidance as survival, not weakness, flipped her strategy. She stopped blaming herself and started rethinking how to approach work without triggering this mental alarm system. Enter the Pomodoro technique. Pick a tiny 25-minute window to focus, then take a break. Barbara found this timer hack didn't just split work, it tamed her brain's resistance by making the hard task feel doable, small, and less threatening. It's like telling your brain, hey, just 25 minutes, then you're free. Suddenly, procrastination gets kicked to the curb. Barbara experimented with small rewards, like a piece of dark chocolate or a brisk walk after a study sprint. These tiny treats rewired her brain to associate effort with pleasure, not pain. Over time, the dreaded subject got less scary because her mind started expecting positive bursts, making motivation easier and procrastination less powerful. Ever hear a math whiz get something instantly? That's chunking in action, a mental magic trick you can learn. Barbara describes how tackling differential equations plunged her into a swamp of confusion until she noticed patterns. She broke the problem into understandable chunks, breaking the equation into smaller parts she could grasp. Like Lego blocks snapped together, those chunks became the stepping stones she needed to climb out of confusion. Suddenly, the problem looked less like gibberish and more like familiar terrain. Imagine your brain like a filing cabinet. Each chunk is a neatly labeled folder holding related information. When a new question pops up, pulling the right chunk from memory is faster than rebuilding from scratch. The chunk becomes so tidy and robust, your brain recalls it effortlessly. This filing system boosts speed and lowers mental chaos. As Barbara practiced chunking, she noticed her confidence skyrocketed. Problems she once avoided felt approachable. Instead of struggling to memorize endless facts, she assembled ideas fluidly, like playing with Lego sets. That shift from endless effort to playful mastery changed her entire learning game. Barbara discovered memory isn't just about cramming. It's about using the mind's quirks to your advantage. Instead of pulling all-nighters, Barbara tried spaced repetition, reviewing material several times with breaks in between. She shares a story from her class where a student used this method for physics formulas and stunned the professor by recalling them months later. It was proof. Repetition spread out over time lets your brain lock in info deep, not just on the surface. Barbara loves mnemonics, those quirky rhymes or images that make facts stick. She recalls King Philip came over for good soup as a tool to memorize taxonomy ranks. It's silly, it's fun, and it hacks your brain's craving for meaning and stories, turning random data into memorable nuggets. Interleaving or mixing practice topics felt weird at first. Barbara observed students who jumped between math, physics, and programming problems before tests, instead of blocking one subject at a time. The result? Those who mixed it up showed deeper understanding and better retrieval because their brains learned to differentiate and apply skills flexibly. Mental blocks happen to everyone. Barbara had to face hers head-on to finally conquer math. Here's how she flipped the script. Barbara admits she often felt like a fraud amidst brilliant classmates, her imposter syndrome whispering that she didn't belong. Yet when she openly acknowledged this feeling, it lost power. Sharing insecurities with peers created an unexpected camaraderie and lightened her mental load. She learned that confronting self-doubt is the first step to breaking free. When a test tanked, Barbara didn't see it as a disaster, but as a GPS recalculating. Each failure fed vital feedback about what strategies didn't work. Instead of shame, she embraced mistakes as data points on her map toward improvement, turning frustration into fuel for growth. One breakthrough came when Barbara began using metaphors, like thinking of complicated circuits as water flowing through pipes. This simple imagery flipped confusion into clarity. Metaphors bridged abstract concepts and everyday experience, making intimidating topics accessible and even fun. Remember Barbara in that army barracks, overwhelmed by math that once felt like a foreign language? Now she's proof that struggling doesn't lock you out, it's just the first step toward mastery. You don't have to be a natural, you just have to learn how your brain learns. So tonight, try this. Pick one small, tricky math or science task, set a 25-minute timer, chunk it, then let your mind wander. You're starting the rewiring. The math beast, taming it just got personal. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.